Alrighty, and welcome back to Hit the Gap for another week. We've just seen round 7 conclude, and we are looking forward to round 8. One more round until Magic Round. How has the last fortnight of footy been for you, Mitchy?
Jeez, man, it's upset city, upset central.
Mm.
I think there's probably, really both of the last weeks have been pretty hectic on the old. Oh goodness me, they've both been hectic on the
Margins or
on the
results,
margins, the
even?
results in general. Yeah, really the
Mm.
results.
Mm.
Um, we start the week with a wacky one, and then we really ended the week with it's not a less wacky one, but it's still wacky given the
Mm.
current standings. So,
Relatively
um,
close, yeah.
yeah, 100%.
Mm. We'll have a look. We'll jump on to round 7. So, as you'll probably notice, we've got a bit of a different configuration with recording this week because some idiot forgot to press record earlier. So we are coming remotely and also solo here at the influencer streamer setup we've got going on here. We're seeing how this will go this week, but we'll have a look at game 1 rather, on Thursday, being Seagulls versus the Dragons. This one was only 2-point difference, 2-point margin in this.
Mm.
Dragons coming away with the win though, just sort of pipping the somewhat out of form or wavy Seagulls, I would say, right?
It's not even really a case of a super like upset, I guess, with this one,
Mm,
but still
mm,
a wacky result. I mean, for it to be this close as well, ended literally separated by 2 points,
mm,
by penalty.
yeah,
I mean, look, let's just get down to the nitty gritty in it, right? I mean, no Tom, no win. It's just that simple. I think for
yeah.
Manly.
Has been tough. For Manly definitely. I mean, you got Lehigh, who's a stellar fullback, or he fills in at fullback, stellar, but the team just doesn't seem to operate the same. I get exactly what you're saying. They just don't seem to. I don't know. Don't seem to have the same output. I mean, he can fill that role
The moment
and do the fullback role as good as you can as anyone else, but yeah, it just seems somewhat disorganized, I think.
Yeah, I think the moment that DCE has to work on doing stuff and not having Tom out the outside and to take the pressure off,
Mm.
um, it just goes pear shaped.
Yeah.
And it
Yep.
seems to it's a consistent thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people are pointing the finger at DCE, but realistically, they've
Can't blame
spent
him
their
for everything.
entire can't blame them for everything, and they've spent their
Mm.
entire time basing their game plan around how well Turbo's playing. So,
Mm. Mm. Yeah,
I mean, it's their
definitely.
own fault realistically, but
Yep.
if Turbo plays a game, gets injured for 6 games, and then he's comes back and plays one game, I mean, that's not conducive for a winning environment. So,
No, no, definitely not. So yeah, Seagulls ever since round 1, just in a bit of a luller form, seem to be treading water a bit, floating, whereas the Dragons have been there or thereabouts most of the time, and they're starting to get their wins on the board. So yeah, sort of
still
both
one of the
both
other teams
going
to
in
take
opposite
out the
directions.
still one of the other teams to take out the Storm as well.
True, yeah, true so far. Next game, the Friday games, being the Bulldogs and Rabbitohs Good Friday clash. Now, this one was one, I mean, result, probably you could have picked it, but the scoreline was insane, 32 points to nil. I mean, Rabbitohs sort of struggling, and they've still got their injuries and whatnot, or they did this week anyway. Latrell in at 5'8", they had Cody back, but yeah, I don't know, it didn't seem to really help them much. 32 points to nil's pretty insane, in my opinion. I mean, Bulldogs' defense is great, right? But yeah,
I mean,
geez.
realistically, it does hammer home just how hard um, they're missing their half combinations. I mean, Cody Shaw, Trell is a center. You
Mm,
can't change my mind. I don't think
mm,
there's anyone that can change my mind anymore. I think he's a natural born center. I think it's a waste of time and space to have him in the half, but I guess they have no choice right now. So
yeah,
um,
yeah. He
I
can do a
think
job, and he's been doing a job, but it's just, yeah, just not as well. Or they're not running as smooth as they were when they had Humphreys there, and then
yeah.
Walker obviously, yeah, doing the other bit. But
And
yeah,
onto the
32.
Dogs, you can't take anything
Yeah,
away from them at all. They're just the
yeah,
the most insane defensive side we've seen in quite some time.
yeah,
It
yep.
it harkens back to like the Penrith of old, where
Mm.
they just wear you down to the point where you have nothing left to spend.
And then start
Can't
putting
you
their
just
points
can't
on.
compete, and that's how they get their points. Yeah, they're just beaten. They're beating the dead horse essentially.
Yep, which they've done pretty well. I think it's six wins and 0 losses so far, with one bye in there, obviously. But regardless,
Two wins in a row, keeping the enemy team to 0. So
yeah, pretty impressive stuff indeed. Second Friday game, Dolphins versus Storm. Now talking about one of the only teams
well,
to beaten the Storm. Here's the other one, which doesn't bode well for whoever the Storm play next week. But 42 points to 22, with the Dolphins coming away with the win on this one up at Suncorp. There, it was a bit of a gritty battle for most of it. I think the Storm started well, but then it just sort of started to fall apart a bit.
I mean, look, shout out Melbourne. Fins up for this one. This was incredible.
Finally, a win for the good guys.
I can't even watching this game back. I mean, it started off horrendous for the Finns too. I mean, it started off Storm just. If you watched the first 15 minutes and turned it off, you would have gone, ah, sweet, another Storm pumping.
Storm
I'm
win,
going to the
yeah.
pub. Go and
Yep.
do something else. Like,
Yep.
it's to watch this game just unfold in front. And ever since Jack Howarth, I mean, and condolences to Jack as well. I mean, he got a very nasty shoulder dislocation in this game. Condolences for sure. I mean, hope it's not a really long road recovery for him, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But ever since that injury in that game, the game just fell right off. It was just straight down the drain.
A little bit topsy-turvy, yeah, you're right.
Awful
Very
at that point.
good defensive resolve. I mean, we've seen the Dolphins with that so far this year at most times, but good defensive resolve and a little bit of attacking flair. And yeah, they just sort of they had the Storm rocked for the most part. I think we've seen forwards go over and everything. It was insane.
Well, you can't take anything
Kerr
away
even
from
got
the
one.
Finns either. Like, I mean, I think Josh Kerr getting one is big. Ray Stone nearly getting a hat trick is
even bigger.
When have we heard of that?
Yeah, exactly
When
right.
have we heard of that?
Talking about Howarth going off, we did lose Plath as well. Plath obviously filling in at hooker for JMK, who had that gash in his leg, and then Plath went off probably closer to half time, I think, from memory. Team lists have dropped today, and I've seen that he's back. He's been named to play again, so obviously not a major injury, but something that they obviously had to they want to keep an eye on and manage, sort of thing. So hopefully,
Plath was named today, was he?
He was, yeah. He got named in the team list, so
that is incredibly lucky, because that could have been anywhere from a week to 2 months. So
yeah, something. Obviously, maybe they've needled him up, or they've done whatever they need to do, and they'll maybe manage it. Whether it come with interchange, he takes a spell and Kurt Donahue comes on or something. But instrumental, I think, in starting or laying the platform or Max Plath for them to get that win and keeping the form they've got so far this season, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't get over how many forwards can go over in one game. That was wild to me.
Forward bingo, try scorer bingo. The Saturday games we'll have a look at. Now this one was, you could argue, was an upset, but Warriors 20 points to 18 beating the Broncos over in NZ. This one going all the way to Golden Point and coming to an end off of a Reece Walsh kick out on the full off of kickoff. Unfortunately, leaving Metcalf to finish a game with a conversion from right in front, but 40 plus meters out, this time on the 50-meter line, just as they beat the Tigers after that penalty conversion. They did the same here in Golden Point this time. Amazing boot from Metcalf, but yeah, just disappointing all round. Broncos probably relying a little bit too much on say Carrigan or Haas and Carrigan and that, and the weather obviously playing a big part in it.
So sloppy.
Not allowing them, to play the style of game they're known for, or they've been good at this year. Offloads were at a premium. They weren't very frequent, and line breaks and stuff, or ball control even was pretty average. So Warriors.
It was overall a very sloppy and pretty poorly managed game for sure.
Yeah,
and it didn't. What also didn't help was the refereeing was also very poor as well. But
and that
wasn't, and that's not even like a Queensland thing. That's both sides was.
Yeah, in general,
I think both sides would be able to pretty comfortably agree on it was pretty average refereeing.
We talked about it today. I mean, the possible try of the year, or one of the try of the year contenders, taken away at the stroke of halftime, taken away off an incorrect forward pass call, which was very, very average to see. But yeah, what can you do? Another one for the referees or
Another one for the
touches.
refs, man. There's
Yeah,
been a couple already, so
yep. News out of that one obviously as well being Reece Walsh getting that PCL injury. He played the game out. We saw him play the game out, heavily strapped, but relatively ineffective for most of it, and now missing a decent stint on the sidelines, minimum 4 weeks. So
mm. So
we'll
this is
see.
going to be very interesting for next week then, because I think that puts Selwyn at fullback, I
Cobbo,
imagine.
yeah, I believe Cobbo's
Yep.
been named at this stage. He's been named at fullback, so
So who
we'll
moves out to? Oh, they'd bring back in Dean Mariner, right?
you would have to
He'd come
think,
back in.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
push him more. Even Shibasaki could play the wing and he could play centres, but yeah, we've seen Mariner do a job on the wing before. I think they'd be comfortable with that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
unfortunately, Broncos going down by 2 points in that one there. Your next Saturday game was the Panthers and Roosters, and this one was a complete turnaround of their first meeting earlier in the season, 40 points to 12. And holy moly, was it talk about try scorer bingo for the Panthers this one.
Yep. And I can't believe I can't believe the winger situation in this game, man.
Mm,
Just,
mm.
I mean, Alamotti went pretty hard, which
Yeah.
was I mean, it goes without saying he's always going pretty hard, all Alamotti, but
Mm.
um, I can't believe they just didn't send the ball out to Jenkins' way at all. I was very surprised at
And
that.
yeah, I mean, and there were a couple of times it did, and there were opportunities, but like we saw when they played the Cowboys, you got Casey McLean who just does not know how to look to his outside, either
Yep.
doesn't know how to pass to his outside, or doesn't know how to look to his outside to even check if he can pass. So yeah, old
Luckily,
McLean
he could
stopping a
score
few
him,
things
so
there. I think actually though, in one of those, that's right. He held on and he did get a try, so you
he
can
did get
excuse him
one.
for that.
So
You can excuse him for that. When it's on, it's on. But yeah, it was a bit rough in this one, but yeah, definitely Panthers somewhat returned to form. Cleary had a pretty good game in comparison to the last couple of
mm.
weeks. I think he's definitely sort of switched it back on a bit, just in time coming into Origin season, Origin selection season, and whatnot.
And I
Roosters, we
think
see,
the
yeah,
Blaze to Lungy pairing with him as
yeah,
well was significantly more crisp this week. So they've definitely been
yeah.
hitting the sheds pretty hard in practicing. So
Definitely better. Yeah, most definitely better. A little bit more creative. We saw when Cole was there. Cole was all right, but Cole really shone when Cleary wasn't around. So Cole was more dominant, I think, when he was steering the ship. But yeah, when Cleary's there, he sort of takes a back seat, and he wasn't as effective, unfortunately. So yeah, like you said, that Tulagi pairing seems to be paying dividends for him at the
does
moment.
make you
Hopefully,
really wonder as well, like, how much time did they actually have to practice in the last
yeah,
couple games we've seen it. So
exactly.
it was sink or swim for Blaze last week, and he did not swim very well. So
No,
um,
no.
this
Good to
week
see a bit of a bounce back.
we got the flippers on. We got the floaties. We're looking pretty solid.
Yeah, very nice. So yeah, Panthers returned to form in that one. Roosters just going as Roosters have been going. Don't really expect too much more at the moment. I think Nat Butcher came back, and Nat Butcher's gone again, injured again. So in and
Yep.
out for Butcher. It'll be another revolving door of forwards for them, especially coming into Origin season. But yeah, Savala again. Hugo Savala not doing too bad in the halves. He probably locked that position down, I'd say, until Walker gets back for
Until
sure.
Walker's
But
back, yeah.
yeah, whether even he takes sand and spot when Walker gets back, who knows? But yeah, not too bad. They not. It could be worse off. They really could be worse off in the position they're in.
Oh,
But
100%.
yeah,
Either
still
way,
just
infinitely better than
struggling a bit.
having Chad Townsend. So
Yes, unfortunate for the Chad. He's getting some extra time for his podcast anyway. Sunday games: Titans 20 points to the Raiders 30. Down rather at the Gold Coast. There, Titans really they started hard and fast in this. I think they were leading by 14 or 16 points at one point, and then Raiders just tracked them down, which is unusual because usually the Raiders are the faders where they get a decent lead and then just seem to peter off. But they seem to have curbed that a little bit this year. I think in some of the matches and results we've seen, their losses have been relatively close. Outside of that Manly one, have been relatively close, and their wins have been pretty decent. So probably what you'd be hoping for as a Raiders fan, anyway.
yeah, there was really just a good, like a 15, 20-minute period where they just had a bit of a lapse, the Titans. I think it's during their interchanges there,
Yeah,
where they just got absolutely deleted through the middle. It was
yeah. Raiders
and
pounced.
you can't take anything away from Hudson or Ethan because they both played fantastic in this game. But
Yep.
Hudson Young nearly got a hat trick. Ethan Strange got another one on the board for himself finally.
Yep.
That
Yep.
very, very talented player, Ethan Strange.
Yep.
Makes it look so easy, makes it look so easy, and did it right on the stroke of half time too. So that
Yep.
was pretty
Yep.
clean.
Titans as well, losing Dave Fafita to a hamstring injury a couple of days before, and then Jaden Campbell the day before, I think it was, coming to an ankle injury
Ankle,
during
yeah.
training or a warm up or something. So
They're both cooked for
halves,
4 weeks minimum. So
halves. Well, that's the interesting thing. Halves merry-go-round for them again. I mean, Foreign
mm.
comes back next week. I think you had a look at it. So that's one spot that's all right that they can replace pretty quickly, but yeah, they was starting to come together. It was starting to do all right. I think the old JC and AJ Brimson pairing, but yeah, unfortunately not to be for another couple of weeks. But speaking on Fafita, interestingly enough, we'll have a quick talk about it when we get into this round. But being named this week off the bench, whether that eventuates or not, who knows? But
Mm.
very interesting considering the reports of minimum 4 weeks anyway.
Which
Um,
is it's a very strange one that they've named him, because I feel like if they're already saying 4 weeks, and I think maybe they just messed up on the team list, maybe I'm not too sure. You'd have to
yeah,
imagine you'd have to
maybe not.
imagine that
Maybe not so much
who
messed
actually
up as
comes in
much as it
him,
might be a smoke screen or something like that. I think they've got that Pahulu, Josiah or Joseph Pahulu or something they could probably bring in, but
or
you
the
would
other
think,
Fasul
hey,
Mother Awe.
you would think they would have him maybe even in the reserves or something, if they weren't certain. But
Yeah,
yeah, who knows? Maybe just a little bit of smoke and mirrors before they come
that's
up
right.
to
They got
Townsville
Brock
and
Gray
play
as
this
well.
week. Mm,
Brock Gray coming
mm,
back as well.
mm. Sunday games rather, or Sunday game, sorry, second Sunday game, being the Knights versus Sharks. Sharks coming away with a win on this, which most people probably would have seen coming. Knights once again just astoundingly incompetent in attack, or just unexciting, not very thrilling. Unfortunately, they just can't
No,
seem
it
to get yeah.
feels like Fletcher Sharp versus the world, really.
Yeah, they just can't really seem to get much going. I mean, Ponga at times as well, trying to do what he can do, but even he seems to not be coming off with much. And then, yeah. I mean, what can you do? What can you do? Marju, their try scoring machine, just hasn't really been on either, unfortunately.
Yeah, no.
Even Bradman Best, you can see him trying, but not much coming of it. It just seems like the team's rather disjointed at the moment. We've seen that the last few weeks, and it's continuing on. I don't know what they need or what's going to change that this season or immediately anyway. But
Oh, it's just the
yeah,
halves, right? Like they just need another experienced half to come in so that Fletcher can go back to
yeah,
wing. That's just they've just lost
mm,
so much of so much of their attack
mm,
potential, that it's so
mm.
one-dimensional right now that there's just nothing they can do until anything happens with the
Nothing
halves. So
exciting.
yeah,
Um,
it's their only way, and
Sharks,
they're just gonna have to
sh-
slug it out.
yeah, Sharks is predictable, or sorry, as pretty. I mean, average as they can be. Or have been. Still continuing that decent sort of run of form, which is good. Hines, I mean, not stinking it up like we had seen at times. He seems to have sort of reined it in a little bit, which is good. I think they're hopefully starting to get a bit of a better pairing between him and Trindle. Trindle, which we've seen at times, they've both swapped sort of what they do, even though one's wearing the 7 and one's wearing the 6. They may have just found the right balance between them. They've got
They really took advantage in this game of just how
mm,
powerful their forwards are off rip,
yep,
sort of thing.
yep,
They're very
yep,
hard to deal with in that first 20-minute period, sort of thing.
yeah,
And the moment that you think you finally got them worked out in the middle, then they just start slamming you on the edge, and it's
yep,
over. Like they've the arrows go in. The
yep,
Not that he's playing in this game in particular, but in this
yeah,
case, it's
yeah,
Hiroti.
yep,
But you get your arrows going in, your Nickeras going in,
yep,
Stone Street's going in, Mulatalo. You're investing all your time into stopping Mulatalo, so they just
yeah,
swing it straight
exactly.
back out right and get you with Stone Street instead. And Stone Street
Yep,
picked up a double this game. Had two
yep,
forwards go over in the first 20 minutes.
yep,
Um,
yep.
their
Fanua
attack
Blake.
is very, very dynamic,
Mm-hmm.
but and it's just hard to defend against unless you're one of those teams that have such clued on defense like Bulldogs, or like even really.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, not much more to talk about on that one. Knights going as well as they as they have been, so not to
Yeah,
take away
they
from the
need
Sharks, but yeah,
they need something stat, but I don't think they're gonna get anything for a long time. So I think they're just gonna
this
be a
year,
bludger of a
yeah,
year for 'em. Fortunately.
And last game of the round, Easter Monday, our Monday game for the week, the long weekend. Eels finally turning form around. Spoon Bowl rematch, or the rematch of the Spoon Bowl rematch, rather. Getting
Yeah.
the win over the Tigers. Big news in this one being Moses coming back and seemingly unlocking the potential of a bunch of players around him finally.
And my goodness, did he unlock it? And as much as
Mm-hmm.
I hate talking about the Eels,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? He really did save them this game big time. He changed the
Yeah,
game
they've missed him.
entirely.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
you saw how powerful Brown was off with his running game off the way that Moses would play.
Oh
All
yeah.
of Moses's kicks were very impactful.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I mean, look at how Addo Carr was unlocked by him as well. Like even the passing game for Addo Carr has been fantastic.
Yep.
Um, Addo Carr
Iongi,
made absolute meal of these people, and Iongi as well. He was
Iongi as
even
well.
with
Yeah,
10 in the
finally.
bin, he still made everything count for all the
Yeah.
minutes he was on. So
Yep. Try, or if not a double, I think he definitely got one. I
a
don't know whether he
double.
got two, but a double. Yeah. So yeah, Tigers just Dewey being in the halves this week instead of young Galvin, with all the news that happened with him and the signing news, or rather the non-signing news, leaving the club, and that they put him in there, opted to put him in there this week, and yeah, it didn't really go well for him. They did sort of track the Eels down at one point there. They were coming back hard with maybe 15 minutes to go, but just couldn't seem to get it done. It got a bit messy. There were probably about a 6 point difference between them, and then Eels just laid on another one, and then another one just to rub it in, and that was it. That was all she wrote. So hopefully, for Eels fans, a turnaround of form now that Moses is back. There's a little bit of excitement, a little bit of positivity on the horizon. Something good to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he stays match fit and injury free,
Fit,
let's. Good
yeah,
lord, let's hope. Well, actually, maybe don't hope if you're a Queensland fan, but
yeah, yeah.
um,
That's right. Not much of a sample size yet, but off that one game,
it's
you gotta
a good
think
start.
he's knocking on the door. Yeah, exactly
Good
right.
start.
Yep.
Um, I think the big takeaway as well from this one is just how little I think time was spent for the Tigers maybe
Yeah.
in their
Yep. Yep.
halves
Yep.
pairing. I
Mm,
think they really did not compare to someone like Mitch Moses coming back and putting on an absolute show like that. So
yeah.
let's
Running
see
it.
what happens this next week.
Yeah. Yep. And speaking of next week, we'll jump on to round 8 and preview that quickly. Thursday night's game, Broncos versus the Bulldogs there at Suncorp. Funny that's not on a Friday night. That doesn't make sense. But anyway, yeah, Bulldogs coming up against the Broncos. We touched on it earlier briefly. That you'll have Cobbo at fullback, and we'll have a quick look. Jesse Arthurs and Dean Mariner on the wings this one. So you're right. Good call on that one. Yeah, I mean, even I'm not sold. Even if Walsh was at fullback, I don't quite think they would have been able to.
No,
Well, I mean, it might be an all right game, but I just don't think from what we've seen they've got in them to beat what the Dogs are at the moment. This is probably one of the tougher ones the Dogs have played, or one of the tougher teams the Dogs have played so far, mind you. But I just think with how good they're defending and that at the moment, they've probably got enough just to crack the Broncos, or at least wear them out from what we've seen. I can
I feel
smother
like we're gonna
those
see a 40
offloads
minute
and that.
I feel like we're gonna see like the first 40 minutes of this game just
Mm,
absolute boring slugfest,
grind,
just
yeah,
in grind, and
yep,
they're gonna come out and smash the Broncos in the second half. I
yeah, wear
I
them
think
down.
it's I think
Mm,
they because the Broncos can't handle when you stop them from
tell them no.
scoring or stop their flair. Yeah, they can't handle
Yeah,
the lack of flair. So when things don't go their way, they get a bit angry. So
yeah, yep.
I think with no
Bulldogs,
Reese there as well,
Bulldogs.
it's going to be really tough. It's going to be a tall
Yep,
order.
yep. Bulldogs for me on that one.
That's dogs for me, and this is the margin game too. If you don't forget, so I think I'll be
Yeah.
happy to go with a 14-point margin on this one.
Oof. Yeah. Decent score. Friday's games. First one is Roosters versus the Dragons. Yeah, not much more to talk on really. I mean, where both teams are. It is the Anzac Day test match as they always have. But yeah, they're always big games. But I just think where both teams are at the moment, it's going to be Dragons. I think Dragons have probably just got that little bit more positivity about them, or upside rather, to how they're playing and how the team's combining and stuff at the moment. Just think the Roosters are still a little bit all over the place, unfortunately. So I think it'll be Dragons for me on that one.
Now, I think the other thing to remember here is that the Roosters are actually on the back foot.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
they're on the back foot for the first time in many years.
as opposed to the Dragons. Yep,
Opposed to the
exactly.
Dragons, who are now on the front foot for the first time in
Mm.
many years, many
Mm-hmm.
years.
Mm-hmm.
I think I mean, the last two times they played,
Mm.
I think the last one was like 40 points, and the one prior to that was even worse. It was like 50 or 60. So,
Mm.
um, I think we're going to see a bit of a vengeance from the Dragons here. I think they're going to want to put on massive amounts of points.
Dragons
The
resurgence. Yep.
the
Yep.
attack is going to be out in full force. There's going to be
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be blood. It's going to be a bloodbath. Will be.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. So I think Dragons for me in that one.
That's Dragons for sure.
Yep. The second Friday game, Warriors versus Knights, and again, I think this one's probably pretty clear cut. This one's over in New Zealand as well, mind you, but Knights going over there, Ponga back to his homeland. I don't think, and Thompson back to his homeland as well, or the Thompsons back to the homeland. I don't think it's going to be enough. Warriors, even if the Warriors were in a little bit of a slump of form and they weren't doing as well as they're doing at the moment, still think the Warriors come away with the win in this one. There's just not enough from the Knights, unfortunately.
I mean, one thing that was interesting about Teamless Tuesday this week was that Cogger was named in the reserves.
Yep,
Um,
yep. I think
I
he might be
wonder
on
if
his way back
they.
from that hand injury.
Well, I wonder
Possibly.
if they if they strap his hand up real heavily they come in
Yeah,
nice and
possibly.
late, nice and
Yep.
just for the
Yeah.
bit of the element of surprise.
Yeah.
They do have currently. I think they're still running the same strategy.
Hastings and Sharp. Yeah.
Hastings and
Yeah.
Sharp, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Um, I
Yeah.
don't think
Hard to
so.
see
I
anyone
just
but
don't.
the Warriors winning.
Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, no. It looks like I just had a little review here. It looks like they've put Gamble in 7.
Sorry, who did I say? Hastings.
Hastings, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. No, Gamble. It has been. It was Gamble. Gamble last week and Gamble this week.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's
I
right. Yeah, Gamble.
confused the two. Hastings is on the outer. I
Yeah,
think
so
we haven't heard from him in a while. But yeah.
in a
Yeah.
while,
Gamble.
yeah.
Gamble in 7 again.
Yeah, Gamble in 7, Sharp at 6. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Tough to see anything other than the
pretty much
Warriors.
as
This
we
one.
said. It's gonna. I
Yeah.
think the Warriors are licking their lips looking at this. I think they're gonna get carved in the middle way too hard.
Yeah, yep. The third Friday game, being a public holiday, Anzac Day, we've got the Storm versus the Rabbitohs, and again, this one probably a pretty clear-cut winner, as we've seen before. The Storm coming back from a pretty average loss, they'll be ready to pounce and pounce back hard, bite back hard against the Rabbitohs, who are somewhat in all sorts. There's a bit of a change now. I think Jaden Sullivan's in the 7, while Cody Walker's gone back to the 6, and Latrell goes back to fullback, and I think Gray playing 14 as far as I've seen. At this stage,
Yeah,
that's how the team list has been labelled out. But yeah, I just don't see it changing much at the moment, unfortunately. Probably not
and
until Humphreys gets back.
even this, I heavily I disagree with this. Like this should. I think they're shooting themselves in the foot a little bit. I think their centers should be Campbell Graham and Latrell on the other side. I don't know why they're putting White in there. I think that's probably better off to just bench Bentley Hape and put Whiten in the 2. Or not even in 2. Just put him even in forwards somewhere there, like
Yeah,
8,
maybe at lock or
maybe in
something.
14 or 9. Yeah, 14 or 9.
Yeah, yep.
I think you'd probably argue Whiten to be a better 14 than he'd be the 9. I'd rather have Ellis on there more. So
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
I don't know. I just don't rate the Trell fullback or I especially don't rate him as the half amazing center. So
Yep. So Storm in this one, I reckon, probably the same for you. It sounds like.
that's a Storm. And I
Yeah.
can't see them. I can't. I look at the matchups and everywhere I look at it, it's just like what do you do?
Yeah, that's it. Pretty clear cut, yeah. Second Saturday game, Panthers versus Sea Eagles. Now this one could be a bit closer than we'd be led to believe after the last couple of weeks. Turbo named back at fullback for this one, so we'll see what happens there. Whether he does end up playing or whatever. You got Tommy
the Cows
Talau
game?
on the interchange. Did I jump the Cows game? Sorry, yeah, Cows is the first one. You're right. Sorry.
We'll go the Cows game.
Well, we'll hang on. Finish this. We'll finish this off since I've gone off half cocked and too early. We'll revisit the Cows one. So yeah, this is, as I was saying, the second game on the Saturday, the later one, Panthers versus Sea Eagles. Yeah, it might be a bit closer than we're led to believe from the last couple of weeks. I mean, we have seen Panthers sort of jumping back to a bit of form there, but could see Sea Eagles as well do the same. I'm tentatively going to pick Panthers in this one, I think. We'll just see how the team lists look a bit closer to the game. But,
I mean,
yeah,
look, I've got Panthers, but
yeah,
they're doing that
good.
thing again where they are desperate for Tom to come back, and they've put him
Yeah,
back in literally
and he gets
immediately.
injured.
He's-
Hopefully not. Touch wood.
I
Touch wood.
feel
We
like
don't
we're
want him
about to
injured again.
see. I feel like we're about to just see the same thing that we've seen like the last 5 times. He's just
Yeah,
gonna come back and get injured, get over it.
yeah. Hopefully not.
Oh
But
man, hopefully
yes,
not.
it is a recurring
Um,
thing.
in that case, I think you'll probably see Lehigh move to the wing. Yeah, there it
Hmm.
is, Lehigh back out to the wing.
Yep.
So that would probably mean we are seeing some tries from Lehigh,
One would hope.
which is good.
Yeah.
But look, I've got Panthers for this one. I feel like Tom will go out there and get injured straight away.
Yeah.
This is definitely rushing him back. I think.
Yeah.
He
Yep.
wasn't even tipped to come back for at least a week or two. And they're
Yeah.
bringing him back this early, so
Yeah. Yep.
that's just a
Hopefully
sus
not.
one for
But
me.
could be a close game, that one. And yes, we'll revisit the first Saturday game that I skipped before. Cowboys versus Titans up here at 5:30. And again, this one could be pretty close, I think. It could be close. I haven't had a look at their team list just yet. How is there? So they've got Tom Weaver at halfback again and AJ back at 5'8". So it's pretty well the same team. They've just got Lofi Pereira back on the wing, which you were mentioning earlier today. He's making his return. And yes, Fafita named on the interchange despite that hamstring injury. So see what happens there closer to game day and whether he gets dropped out or what happens. But I think from what we've seen, Cowboys probably just have the little bit more upside and they're on the bit better run of form. So I'll be tipping Cowboys in this one.
I've got Cows in this one.
Yeah.
I think with losing, I mean, getting Fafita back in, if that is the case, that's a big boon. But
Yeah.
I think having Olofi come back in as well is also very
Very
big
handy.
for them as well.
Yeah.
I think he'd be matching up against Muzz, so that's probably good for us. I'd rather have Derby versus Fafita versus rather than Camperera because he's going to get done on speed for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Most people will get done on speed by Camperera, quite frankly, but I think realistically, I'm looking at the matchup, and that's probably the only like sort of mismatching there. It's just the wings. I think they're gonna have faster wingers than us, but that's about it. So I have a feeling
Cows for you.
this is going to be a Cows one, but it'll still be a good game and probably even a close one.
Yeah.
Coming up north is going to be tough for those Titans, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Sunday's games now. First one of Sunday being Raiders versus the Dolphins. This one I'm tipping to be relatively close, even though it is down at down in Canberra. I think the Dolphins are on a decent run of form there, as we said. Plath named, so Plath will line up at hooker there. Whether it come game day that does happen, but obviously they've got faith in him to do it. So pretty well the same team. They have lost Kafusi. Kafusi's out, so Francis Molo joins the squad, but. Yeah, I think this will be probably one of the games of the round, really. Raiders in that run of form against the Dolphins, who are also in a decent run of form. Could be a close one. I think I'm going to have to tip Raiders myself on this one, though.
Yeah, I'd be happy to lose this one and have the Finns beat me. Sorry, Melbourne, but I just don't have enough faith in the Dolphins yet. I don't have enough faith in them yet. I have a feeling they're going to be, especially losing someone like Kafusi, their enforcer. I feel like they're just going to do it a bit tougher there.
Yep.
It's that Raiders pack is so hard to go up against, and it's just going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Yep. Raiders as well, eh?
Yeah, definitely Raiders for me.
Yep. And the last game of the round being the West Tigers versus the Sharks. Now, somewhat back to regularly scheduled programming with Galvin, funnily enough, being named back at 5'8" this week, and Dewey back to the centre position up against the Sharks. Now, one would probably instantly think, or first of all, jump to the Sharks winning this one, but I think this one's going to be a bit closer than we think. Sharks again, yes, in that decent run of form, finally seeming to find some sort of solid footing, but I don't know. I think the West Tigers got the ability to surprise them. I'm pretty sure they've already played a couple of weeks ago, haven't they? Sharks and Tigers,
Sharks and Tigers, and the Sharks
Tigers.
them.
Oh, Sharks won, did they?
So
Yeah, yep. So I have a feeling this one's going to be a bit closer. For some reason, I thought it was a closer game, but I think you might be right. Actually, it was earlier in the season, round 2 possibly. Um,
And
I think it may have been round 2 or 3 possibly. But
we had the Sharks.
um,
See if
yeah,
I
I
can
think
find it. A little bit of
unless
research.
I might even be mixing it up. A very good chance I'm thinking of last season or something. But I think it might be a lot closer than we've seen. So probably this will be my left field one of the week. I'm going to tip the Tigers in this one. Just back to regularly scheduled programming, and whether that means much in terms of cohesion and that after everything that's gone down with Galvin, I don't know. But if I'm ever going to tip a left field tip, it'll be this one, I think, this week.
Yeah, I've got Sharks for this one, but
Mm.
what I'm hoping doesn't happen is I'm hoping that we don't see them just explode on the field. I really don't.
Take a back seat, thinking it's all too
Yeah.
easy, maybe. Yeah.
Not even just that. I really just don't. I feel like there's going to be. I mean, it's clear that there's a lot of issues within the camp about Galvin.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but that's the Tigers.
I mean, we'll
You're
have to
right,
even
yeah.
really see if Galvin stays named at 6 by the time the game comes around. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
Monday
that's
game
true
again,
too.
so
Yep.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I feel like if there's going to be issues, then that's going to come out on the field probably.
Yep. Hopefully not, but we will see. We will see. That's about it for round 8. Round 8 all tied up. There's not a whole lot more to talk about. We've got Magic Round coming up next time we talk to you, but as for now, we'll probably jump onto your try of the week. I think you had one from the Broncos Warriors game, didn't you?
Yeah, I had 2 from it actually. So,
Hmm.
honourable mention to obviously Cantoni, who absolutely was robbed by those referees. That's
Oh,
so
unbelievable.
I'm sorry, Cantoni. That was unfortunate. It
Yep.
would have been try of the season, I think, after the way that went down. But either way,
Mm. Mm.
not to be, mate. Sorry. In fact, the try of the week this week will be instead given to Luke Metcalf. But for the most part, let's give it to the try assist actually, from Kurt Capewell,
Oh.
repping the Queensland colours,
Yep.
obviously.
Yep.
But it was an amazing runaway after the Broncos have been just absolutely slack, terrible with a
Yeah.
pass there. They've let it
Yep.
fall to the ground. It's gone back, so they had plenty of time to grab it. They didn't grab
Yep.
it, and
Yep.
Capewell's just swooped on it, made a break down the sideline, and doing winger things, quite frankly. Um,
Mhm. Reminiscent of that
but
Origin game where he was in centre.
yeah, absolutely. And he was just about to score, and he got tackled. But it
Yep.
doesn't matter because he has a
Quick
sensational
pass
pass on him
off.
on the way down. It was a great
Yep.
pass over to Lukey Metcalf, backing him up, and
Just to finish it off.
fantastic try, fantastic
Yep.
try.
Yep. Yep. Very nice. There were a few good ones in that game, despite the weather. Like you said, that one that didn't get allowed for Stags there, atrocious, absolutely atrocious. We didn't see that one go through, but
I
what
can't
can you do?
believe it was called forward. I just can't
Yeah,
believe it.
robbery of the season so far. With that though, we'll have a quick look at the fantasy buy of the round this week. So this one's one where he's probably buy of the round last 2 weeks, prior 2 weeks, but now's the time to get him if you're going to get him. Dylan Egan from the Dragons, brought in to cover injury, but man oh man, has he absolutely ran a muck since they've had him there. So much so that just before he got his minor elbow injury, I think a week or two ago, he was starting. He had a starting spot between him and Luciano. He was a preferred starter, but comes on, does his 30, 40 minutes, and just absolutely steamrolls whoever he's up against.
Runs
You
amok,
have a look,
yeah.
yeah, have a look at his points from round 4 against the Storm, the game they won. He got 46. Round 5, 46. Round 6 was 75, and then round just being 51. So someone that was basement price. Amazing, awesome pickup. 4 games in, he's now made 252k, so he's at 482k. Not so much a cash cow these days, as he is a good pickup for the points, but yeah, before he hits 500, while he's sub 500, definitely one to pick up, I would say. So Dylan Egan, have a look
He
if you
works
don't
so
already have him.
he works so well off Val too.
Most definitely, yeah, great combination there. That's probably about it for this week. We'll do it's a bit of a summarised, shorter version this week. We're on a time schedule. We've got some stuff to do, but Yeah, outside of the competition on our other podcast over there at Life at the Outpost, just head over to the Life at the Outpost Facebook or Instagram and see the competition post for 2 tickets to the Panthers Cowboys game next month. I think they'll be drawn in about a week, or say a week and a bit. We'll say they'll be drawn. So go over there and have a look how to score them. Fairly easy, and get your name in the draw. And yeah, best of luck. Best of luck for that. But as for us, we will. We'll be signing off until we see you Magic Round, the Magic Round edition of both of our podcasts, and I think a lot of fun. We're both excited. Hopefully, we can
Oh
get
yeah.
something a bit different down in Brisbane. Maybe try and get some on the ground stuff, some decent content. But yeah, until then, signing off. Thanks for listening.